a musician and you're making music and you're dropping it and you're promoting it and whatever, and it's not working, is because your music strategy is completely broken. And that goes for most independent artists in 2026. So firstly, we need to think about the foundation, okay? Why should people listen to your music? It's a question that like people don't answer before they start dropping or before they start promoting. But what you need to understand is you need to be so clear on why people should listen to your music. What is the purpose of your music? What is the reason for them to listen to your music? If you don't have that nailed down, then like you not knowing why people should listen to your music guarantees that no one will listen to your music, okay? So stay with me. Firstly, sit down and journal. What is the purpose of my music? What you need to understand is that music is just sounds. Unless you give it meaning, you need to give it some meaning. You need to give some purpose, you know? So you need to sit there and think, in what setting, in what situation can my music help somebody? Because we need to stop thinking about music as some vague thing, okay? You're an artist, okay, but partly you're an entrepreneur as well. And your music is a product, okay? It's a product that you want people to buy in terms of just them streaming your music. You want them to use and appreciate your product, okay? In order for that to happen, your product needs to help them. It needs to solve a problem. It needs to be something that, you know, helps them in life and makes them actually want to listen to you and makes them interested in your stuff. You know, you need to give value. And so you need to be so sure and understand what type of value you're giving. And, you know, there's many ways to do this. There's many ways to give value with music, you know. You can be someone who makes relatable music, you know, someone who helps people, you know, process emotions and feel like they have someone to relate to while they're going through something. You can be the guy that people go to the gym and listen to get hype. You know, you can be the person who people listen to when they want to hear something new, something brand new, you know, something innovative, whatever. But you need to understand that, like, if you don't have a clear reason for people to listen to your music, yeah, then they won't, okay? So your whole brand, yeah, needs to be built on kind of a reason for people to listen to your music, okay? So that's the first thing. And then building upon that, okay, you have a reason for people to listen to your music. You now need to like build upon that, okay? You need to give them that on social media. You need to show that on social media. That is how you promote your stuff, okay? So you have your reason for people to listen to your music, and now that is how you're gonna market your music, okay, on social media. And so sorry for interrupting, but if you need help building a music brand that attracts a fan base, we can literally do that for you in the first link in the description if you're interested. And if not, just keep watching the video. Music strategy is broken, not because your music is bad, but it's broken because you're just posting whatever on social media, trying to get some interest or trying to make people interested in your stuff. At the end of the day, if you post reels, for example, to get engagement and to make people like it and engage with it, okay, that doesn't translate to streams. That doesn't translate to music followers or listeners, whatever. It doesn't, because people watch reels to get entertained, to quick entertainment, you know, short form entertainment. People don't listen to music to get short form entertainment. And so the value that people get on Instagram reels and the value that people get from music is totally different, okay? People don't go to Instagram reels to find a new artist, okay? People go to Instagram reels to just laugh, to just waste some time while they're sitting on the toilet or waiting for the bus, you know, it's just a quick laugh. And so if you're posting content that's designed for reels, then you're not gonna get people to your music. And that is the reason that, for example, if you're an artist and you're posting reels and maybe you've gotten a reel with 10,000 views and that just doesn't translate over to streams, it's because you're probably making Instagram reel content and expecting that to translate to streams. It doesn't work like that because it's two totally different things. And the reason why, like, the most successful artists on social media when it comes to translating social media engagement and followers into music streams are the ones who just kind of ignore the rules of Instagram reels or social media, you know. Basically, the goal for like social media content when it comes to like being an independent artist, being an artist, trying to get people from Instagram to your music, to Spotify, whatever, is to break the cycle of like the algorithm. You need to break the cycle of the scrolling. You need to break the cycle. And what I mean by that is you need to be so like, you need to not follow like the normal kind of algorithm where you have a hook, you have a quick hook and whatever, and then transition that into something funny or whatever. Or you don't do that shit. Don't make memes, don't make fast-paced videos, don't make normal short-form content. If I'm telling you, if you want to like take people from Instagram Reels or TikTok into Spotify, then firstly you need to like not frame, you can't frame yourself as a normal reel. You have to frame yourself as like just an artist, okay? So basically, and I thought about this because I don't really use short form content that much, but I was on Instagram Reels a few days ago and I was scrolling on it. And I stopped because I saw this guy with a guitar playing the guitar and it sounded nice. And so I checked his Spotify out and whatever and listened to the music. And I was like, yo, this shit is fire. And then I thought about it. Why did I go from Instagram Reels to Spotify? Well, it's because when I scrolled on Instagram Reels, I found something that took me out of the kind of Instagram Reels mindset. It took me out of the mindset of, okay, I'm watching Reels. And it took me into music mindset. And then I went on Spotify. And so what you need to do with your Instagram Reels, the goal for the Instagram Reels is not to kind of like get views, okay? It's not to like follow the algorithm and play the game of getting short form views and scrolling and getting people to just like your video and scrolling on to the next one. You need to just you need to break that cycle. You need to kind of like stand out from the short form content, not by making better videos. Don't make better videos. Don't make better quality videos. Just kind of like try to ignore the way short form content works and use short form content as if you don't know how it works. And so if you're an artist, if you're a singer, just post yourself singing a cover, okay? And just post that basic, no editing, no whatever. Just on your phone and post that. Because when people see that, they're not looking at a reel where it's high paced and it got a hook and it's whatever and it's fast and it's short form content. No, they're not looking at that. They're looking at someone singing. And what happens is their mind is kind of go out of that Instagram Reels mindset of just scrolling. It's gonna go out of the TikTok mindset. It's gonna go out of the short form content mindset. And it's gonna go into just the mindset of someone who's listening to music and listening to a song. And at the end of the day, the problem with this kind of strategy is that you're probably gonna struggle to get views. And the thing with short form content, it's always a gamble though. You know, you never know which video is gonna get views. You never know. Like you can make the best fucking video for the algorithm and not get any views, and then post it again a few months later, no editing. You'll get way more views. You don't know what's gonna happen. But what I'm telling you is, if you want to get people from Instagram Reels to Spotify, you need to change the way you're dropping music. So that was kind of the second thing. Okay, and then the third thing that would kind of be the reason why your music strategy is broken. You don't have a target audience. You don't have like a culture. And what I mean by, I think the game, like the internet's changed so much. Obviously, we know that because there's too many people. It's oversaturated. Okay, there are 100,000 songs being dropped on Spotify like every single day or something crazy like that. And what you must understand with that is like you're competing with so many people, and you right now, you have nothing. So you have nothing to leverage. You have no attention to leverage, whatever. So you can't compete with all these people. It's like, think about how many people are dropping an Instagram reel every day. A lot of people. And so for you to compete against them with attention, you need to think, okay, what kind of advantage do you have over these people? Maybe you have a competitive advantage of looking cool or being from a cool place or having an amazing voice, whatever. Okay, so that's great. That's fantastic. Okay, but that's not enough. Okay, you need to kind of like, instead of competing with this group of people, you need to like niche down. Basically, you need to niche down into like a smaller group of people. And once you do that, I'm telling you, instead of competing with all these people, try and find like a sub-genre, a subculture that you can be targeting, you know. So for example, if you are a artist and you make music, try and niche down, try and find a subculture who you can make music for and who you can target on social media and who you're gonna be going for in the beginning. For example, I always talk about the 2010s rappers like Tyler, Creator, or Mac Miller. I think they were kind of like in that subculture of maybe the skater culture where it's, whatever, just having fun out there, being kids, skating, whatever, skateboarding. And that's kind of a subculture, the skateboarding culture. And instead of competing with everyone, they went for kind of a niche of, the kids, whatever, skateboarding kids listen to them. And basically what happens is now the marketing is not going to be for everyone, okay? Because it's hard to market for everyone. In order to market for everyone, you need to be like, think of Mr. Beast, for example. Mr. Beast makes video for everyone, okay? But in order to satisfy everyone, and in order to compete against everyone and compete for everyone's attention and win, you need money, and you need, you need everything. You need money, you need high production, you need something that's just too high of a level for us right now. So instead we're gonna niche down. And instead we're gonna try and find some kind of subculture, some sub niche that we can try and hit and try and target. So think about it. Listen to your music and think, what kind of subgroup of people can I, hit? Could it be maybe, could it be maybe fishers, guy who goes fishing? Or could it be, this type of emo group or whatever? That's why I love emo artists. I don't listen to emo music, but it's so smart, the fact that they've kind of niched down in that way, that they only make music for emo people at the beginning. For example, the emo bands, they start pretty niche, but then they kind of build up because they found a little group of people that's easy to market to, okay? It's different from the large group of people, a subgroup within this large group of people. They found that and they targeted that. And then they built a fan base here. And once you built like a fan base of 10,000, 100,000 followers, at least like 10,000 followers, it's going to be so more, it's going to be so much easier to build a bigger audience. But what you need to understand, you need to get to that first 10,000 quickly. And the way you do that is not by just making slop, whatever, for everyone. No, you need to niche down and try and hit a subgroup, okay? So if you're emo, go for that. If you're whatever, just try and find a subgroup, subculture that fits with your genre and try and go for that. And that's 3 things that, will save your music career. It saved mine. Peace.